To introduce the next speaker, I would like to tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a man who had a mission to prove that you can't sell shoes online. He thought that shoes had to be touched or tried for customers to buy them. To prove his point, he started the web shop and did everything himself in the beginning. Very soon the day came when he couldn't keep up with all the orders. When he realized that he had to hire more people for the web shop, he was forced to admit that he had been wrong. Selling shoes online proved to be a success. Shoes don't have to be touched or tried as long as they can't be returned. This man was the managing director of Schuh in the United Kingdom. And today we have the e-commerce manager here. So welcome Posten's friend and Arne's friend, Sean McKee, with a lovely accent. Give him a big hand.
Morning. Morning. Thank you. Morning.
Is this your first time in Sweden?
It is actually. It's my first time in Sweden and Stockholm. Yes, it is.
What do you think?
Very impressed so far. Particularly impressed by what has got to be the most musical e-commerce conference I've ever attended. So it's absolutely spoiled my Madonna slide. So I was going to be voguing a little bit later, but that's out of the question now. So.
I searched your website to find out when you started the web shop.
Yep.
But I couldn't find it.
It's about 13 years ago.
Okay.
We started transacting with a business called schuhshop.com, so we were partnered, and then we launched our own transactional website 1 year after that. So we've been there quite a while, quite a long time.
Now we're going to talk about convenience for the customer.
Yeah.
We are excited.
Yeah.
Varsågod.
Good. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I hope I fulfill Sarah's promise on the nice accent, but just for maximum convenience, I'll apologize for my complete lack of Swedish. I don't have any Swedish whatsoever. That's very impolite. I also have an Irish accent. I work for a Scottish company owned by Americans with a German name, so I think it's all very, very clear. So I do apologize. But I don't always agree with eBay, but I do substantially concur with what Nicholas is saying in that context is absolutely everything. The context the customer inhabits is absolutely crucial to retailers, e-tailers, people who are in commerce, whatever you choose to call yourself. We don't see much of a difference in terms of the name. We don't care what you call it. We're in the business of serving customers. And that context is important because the context is changing at a pace that we've never seen before. And the key question for retailers is, am I fit for purpose? You know, retailers do think about context quite a lot. The weather, the day of the week, the recession, the Eurovision Song Contest, anything that could affect sales today, sales next week. But the context is much more about the global context and a conversation that's being driven by a customer-driven paradigm shift in the way commerce is conducted. So what I've got for you today really is just some practical examples of what we're doing to stay relevant to our customers. And these are the customers we think we see. They're consumers of technology. They're hyper-informed. They're connected 24/7. You know, so they're very, very different from the customers we would have had 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 10 years ago. So they're very, very, very much in a different place to where they were. And if retailers or e-tailers think they can inhabit some other universe, then that would be a mistake. We inhabit the same place they do. And the key question for us is, what does fit for purpose look like with regard to these customers? And of course, these customers, and we're these customers as well, we're being educated. We're being educated by people like eBay. But when you look at the precision that Google have to offer, the ruthless logistics efficiency of an Amazon, you know, the click and collect efficiency of John Lewis, the clear service proposition of ASOS, the sexy technology of Apple and Samsung and what that technology can do for you, customers are being educated as to what commerce looks like for them. You know, and there is a homogenization of the retail experience to some extent. And that's the context in which our business has to operate. So a little bit about our business. You may well not have heard of us, and we are a well-known shoe retailer in the UK. We have a market-leading position in the middle market. If you're in the market for Vans, Converse, Timberland, Dr. Martens, that's our kind of product. So fundamentally, we sell other people's brands to a younger customer or a young at heart customer who is very much a middle market, high volume sales density customer. So fundamentally, our business is about, in terms of bricks and mortar and e-commerce, going where the customers are in the mass market and selling to them at full price. We're very much a full price proposition, and that includes our online proposition. Just briefly to mention technology, we have a very particular approach to technology in our business. We tend to build in-house. We build things for our own needs. We do things for ourselves. And I'll touch on that slightly as we carry on. In e-commerce terms, we have a team of 25. We've been online for quite a while. So that's 25 directly employed e-commerce people and a lot of dotted lines to other departments. But we have a fairly mature business. We have 3 UK websites. 3 because we have to at the minute, 3 not because it's a good idea to have 3. We also have a little bit of international, but we're very much about our domestic focus in Britain and Ireland, and we think there's quite a lot of potential for us in our home market at the moment. We have an off-price website called Branch 309, where we do a very similar job to TK Maxx, if you're familiar with TK Maxx. And we do have some interaction with Amazon, with eBay for clearance product, and we have some other partners. But fundamentally, a pretty mature e-commerce business, well integrated with the rest of the business, and absolutely needing a relationship with the stores in our business. We couldn't have an e-commerce function if we didn't have a stores business that really supports us and does quite a lot for us in practical terms. So we're about 15–16% of our overall business. So our business, our complete business will turn over somewhere in the region of £250 million this year. And we're about 15% of that. So we're a not inconsiderable internet business. And we think our customers represent a very fertile ground for connectivity or connectedness. They are inherently multi-channel, and they tell us that they are multi-channel. Our digital customers, in 87% of cases, tell us that they shop in our stores. 10% of them tell us they shop in our stores more than our website. They're very, very store-friendly. They're completely connected, they consume technology, and they make active use of search engines to get information for their shopping missions. And they tell us that they use different channels for the same shopping mission. So we feel that we're a multi-channel business with a multi-channel customer, and that's how we need to organize ourselves. So, is there a best practice for all of this connected retailing? If you accept that your customer is connected, and as a result, you want to be a connected retailer. Well, I don't know if there's a best practice, but what I can do is tell you that, I'll show you 3 areas that we are focusing on that we think makes us relevant to that connected customer. And the first one really is being utterly and ruthlessly focused on the customer. Every conversation we have in the business, every decision we make is taken with regard to what does this mean to the customer, and what does this mean for service to the customer. And we really do accept the premise that that doesn't allow room for silos. Now, we suffer from exactly the same pressures as everybody else. We have the same politicking as everybody else. But what unites us, I guess, is that choice and the consumer is at the heart of what we do. So if we were to define what the DNA of multi-channel looks like, for us, it looks a little bit like this. It's ease of choice, choices that make sense with each other, an easy journey for the customer. And we spend quite a lot of time just thinking, how can we make it easier for the customer? Given that we are the business we are, we sell other people's brands. Those brands are not unique to our business, so the way we sell the brands is important to our proposition. So we do some of the things you would expect. We make internet returns easy in stores. We allow customers to exercise choice rather than try and force them down particular avenues. We make very active use of our store estate for our e-commerce business, and I'll explain that in just a moment. And we have the fortune of, because we have in-house systems that we've built for ourselves, we have product visibility in a single pool of stock in real time, so that really does help us deliver results. And we're not multi-channel because philosophically we think it's the right thing to do, or dogmatically it's important. We're multi-channel or omni-channel or whatever you want to call it, simply because it sells more product. It allows us to access the most inventory for the greatest number of customers and sell product. And that fundamentally is our lifeblood. In terms of service, we are very, very motivated around speed of reaction, getting things right in very real time. So in our stores, we have highly trained individuals, large numbers of staff, and they're very much about assisted service for the customer. So they go off, they get the product, they bring it to the customer, and they do what you would expect a shoe retailer to do. And they're performance managed on the way they interact with the customer. In our contact center, and we have an in-house contact center, we manage staff based on things like the speed of picking up the telephone, which is usually about 5 seconds, how quickly we answer emails from customers, that's usually within 90 minutes for 100% of them. And we also give thought to how the customer wants to communicate with us. So we do have a social media team, and we've had that for the past couple of years, and that's proven quite a useful place for customers to communicate with us. We're seeing a 400% year-on-year increase in tweets. And it's definitely the place where customers choose to emote. It's an emotional place for customers, but it can be happy emotions as well as angry emotions. But it's certainly the place where the angry customers live. But we also have room for experimentation. And one of the things I want to tell you about is live help. You're familiar with web chat. Lots of people do web chat, text in real time. What we've been doing is we've been experimenting with video in real time, and we're actually having video engagements with customers. Working with a partner, we didn't have all the technology ourselves, we didn't have the skills, so we have had to work with an external business on this. But what we're doing is we're co-browsing with the customer on the website, we're helping them put product in their basket, we're bringing them through the checkout. And what's interesting is that we thought this would be an alternative method for getting calls down at the contact center. It really hasn't been. It's been about it's a place where customers choose to shop. And when we engage with a customer, and we don't engage with every customer, we give them a nudge, some engage, some don't. But when we engage with them, they are 4 times more likely to convert than an average customer on our desktop website. And their basket values are higher. So when we engage with a real person, when we give them fundamentally the theater of the bricks and mortar store on the website, we're getting results that are really quite good, really quite impressive. And when we survey customers to see how they feel about it, they really quite like it as well. We don't do a lot of work on things like Net Promoter Score, but this is scoring somewhere in the region of 85, 87% approval from customers. They really do quite like this. And we've done quite a lot of work to make sure it's profitable, because it would be very easy to be a busy fool here, spend lots of money on staffing, generating sales, but it would have been easier to stick it on Google AdWords. It's profitable. It's delivering big baskets. It's productive. The key for us is having it in our contact center where we can control it. We can control the tone of voice. We've trained up all the salespeople. They do sell. They are actual salespeople. And we give them other things to do in the downtime between calls. So it's been a useful one for us. It's certainly been quite interesting. And we think it's helping us define that little bit of difference in the market that we're in, which is a pretty competitive market. Secondly, localizing fast fulfillment. What do I mean by that? Well, I don't think customers ever fundamentally fell out of love with retail stores. They love retail stores, but they need retail stores to make sense to them within the lives that they lead today. And one advantage that a multi-channel retailer will always have over an e-tailer is we have product, and we have local product, and we have it in bricks and mortar today. And one of the challenges is to get at that local product and to make it useful to the business right now. So we do a number of things. In very, very simple terms, we make sure that if the product isn't in the store today, but is anywhere else in the business, the store can place an order, and they can get it to the customer free by tomorrow. So that's quite useful. So 5% of any sales we have in any store in any day weren't physically in the store that day. They were in someone's store or in the DC. But more importantly, we're seeing a really big surge in demand for click and collect. So 11% of our online sales are now coming from customers who made selections on the websites and had it delivered in some shape or form to a store. So it's meaningful, and obviously that product has got to be fulfilled at the store. And we have a couple of different click and collect services. I'll explain those in just a moment. But most important of all for us is we use all of our stores as mini distribution centers. And 4 times a day, we pick and pack internet orders, get them ready for fulfillment, and then UPS come in and pick the product up. So we do that in every store 4 times a day. And we stagger your 4 times with someone else's 4 times, so there are multiple points in the day where we know we're getting at the product so we can fulfill it quickly and correctly for the customer. That just allows us to sell more shoes. It really is as simple as that. And we couldn't have an e-commerce business that was growing if we weren't able to get access to the store product. So it's really important to us. But let's talk about click and collect, because we do spend quite a lot of time talking about click and collect. Customers like it, fundamentally. They like the ability to have certainty in their interaction with the retailer. Do you have the stock? Can you give me some opportunity to get that stock for me? So we had customers last year in 140,000 cases who selected product on a website and in some way either sent it into a local store or selected it from that local store. 47,000 of them were purchased in advance. 95,000 of them were reserved for a try before you buy service in the store. So let me explain that try before you buy service. We call it check and reserve. We certainly didn't invent it. People like Argos do it very, very well. But what we're able to do with our customers is they make the product make the product selection on the website. Within 20 minutes, we get back to them with confirmation of the availability of the product with their name on, and we keep it till the end of tomorrow. So we have large numbers of customers who really like that as a service. And you see it being particularly useful to them at Christmas time, where they're under pressure, they're needed to make quick decisions. They like the certainty that offers. And from a political perspective, what we do is we give the sale to each of our stores. So that's a local sale for a local store. And that's a purely political thing, really, because what we need to do is send a message to the stores to say, e-commerce is your friend. It isn't enough, though, because we really do think that while next day delivery is important, today is where the battleground is, fulfillment today. So we need to get faster. So with Express Buy and Collect, the one on the left, we're giving those reservation customers the opportunity to pay on store stocks today. And they'll be able to get their store stock within 1 hour. We need to take a little bit longer on that because we have to fraud check and make sure we get the payment and so on. But we're able to do it pretty quickly. So we'll be rolling that out in the next 4 to 5 weeks. That's nearly ready. We think that'll be important for us in terms of incremental sales growth. We're also working with Collect Plus. So we only have 83, 84 stores in the UK. What Collect Plus do is allow us to deliver to 5,000 other convenience locations. So it's the equivalent of 7-Elevens in Sweden. So we get to deliver to a place that is local to the greatest number of customers. So we think that's good for service. And then later this year, we're going to be working with Shuttle. And Shuttle are, what they do is they pull together local courier information, and they'll allow us to deliver local store product out to customers where they want it within 90 minutes to 2 hours. We will charge customers for that. It will come at a premium. But for the customers who need very fast fulfillment, which in our business is usually women on a Friday, then we'll be able to get that product out to customers in a way that is meaningful to them. So if you asked us what we're up to this year, it's about being even more local and even faster. We're not fast enough, we're not good enough, and we need to get at that store inventory in a way that is even better for the customer, because it's fundamentally popular and efficient. But finally, we've got to talk about mobile. Nicholas from eBay is absolutely right. Mobile is transformational. Mobile is, without a shadow of a doubt, the single biggest event to happen to retailing or commerce or retail, whatever you choose to call it, since the advent of the internet. It is fundamentally transformational. And in our business, we're doing very, very well in mobile. We're doing better than average. But it hasn't been without its bumps along the way. So we've never had a mobile strategy. I actually think that's the wrong approach. We've always had a serve the customer strategy, a get sales strategy, a deliver on your budgets strategy. And it so happens that mobile has been the best method to get there. But as you can see, we started quite early. We did our first mobile site in 2008. You'll be very surprised to hear that we didn't have any sales whatsoever on our first mobile site in 2008. So that made the business a bit frightened. And it was 2011 when we came back again and we did an app. We did an iOS app. And I'll tell you how that's performed in just a minute. Later that year, obviously, we'd introduced things like check and reserve. We did our Monster app in some of our stores, which is a giant screen to try and get customers to interact with an enormous smartphone. I'm not really covering that today because they just don't interact with enormous smartphones. That's really it in a nutshell. And we did our mobile optimized site towards the end of 2011. And that's been, having the app and the mobile site is a very useful thing if you're a mass market retailer, because you can understand the differences in the two and understand what is right for your business. And I'll show you right now. And we've extended our mobile offer in 2012, and we also did a tablet optimized site as well. So our mobile strategy, which definitely was created in hindsight rather than in foresight, really is about sticking to what your business does. We sell you stuff. It's about selling you stuff. And it's important to say no to the things that don't allow us to do that. So, and particularly, our strategy is a full price strategy. So things like e-vouchers will never be for us. So it's about making selections that are right for the business you're in. So, smartphone. Well, these are presented to scale. The mobile optimized site is 15 times bigger than the app. And that's because the sales are 15 times higher than the app. So if you're a mass market retailer, as we are, and customers are purchasing product from you 2 to 3 times a year, then an app is certainly not the way to go. We can't justify the real estate on the customer's phone. We're simply not important enough. We sell accessories. But what mobile optimized allows us to do is use what, is really to piggyback on what the customer is doing, which is get to the customer through search engines, be quite specific in our messaging, be relevant to the customer at the moment they need us to be relevant, and get to them fundamentally. So, we take a nice number on the app. We take a number that is equivalent to the center of Manchester on our mobile site. So it's a substantial, substantial number. And fundamentally, they do the same jobs. What's important there is that they allow you to check local stock, that they appreciate that the customer is likely to be on the go, and that they make sense to that customer who has a short attention span and who may well be on the bus, on the train. But certainly for us, mobile optimized is the method, clearly the method. And because of that lesson, we did tablet optimized just before Christmas last year as well, really so that we could better understand what the tablet customer was doing, but just to give them a better experience as well, because we had a site that was over-reliant on Flash. We had a lot of iPad customers who were getting an incomplete experience. And of course, all of our traditional website was designed to be used with a mouse. And here's a customer without a mouse. It's not a very pleasant experience. So I'm pleased to say it's not been very perfect. It was 24 projects to get it launched. It's ongoing as a project, but we did generate sales of £1 million in the first 9 weeks. So it's been quite good in that sense. But what does it all mean? It means really that nearly half of our web traffic is currently coming from mobile devices. And that's important because it's disruptive. It's very, very disruptive. And it's particularly disruptive when you look in terms of what that means in sales. So tablet traffic is very nice traffic because the amount of traffic is pretty much equivalent to the sales you get. Nice conversion rate, good basket size, pretty straightforward. Smartphone is very, very difficult. And you need a lot of traffic on smartphone to generate the same cash. Fundamentally because the customer is doing a number of different things, and one of them is transacting with you, but other things are locating your store, reserving store stock. Someone else may well get that sale. So for us, there are some very, very clear trends. We've arrived at a tipping point where we think that next month, for the first time, mobile devices will exceed 50% of our web traffic. We expect that to happen at the end of June. And more specifically, this is what it means in terms of smartphone and tablet. So we really are at a tipping point in our business where the disruption is so meaningful now that we need to understand it very, very clearly. So we're very focused on mobile. It's probably the one thing we talk about every day of the week, really because we need to understand what's going on. So is there a science for all this connectedness? Again, I don't really know. It depends on your business, depends on what your business imperatives are. But for us, it's these things. It's about understanding your business vis-a-vis the customer and what the customer is doing, and then making some decisions. You can't do everything. You won't be right for every customer. Think about your business and what it means for your business. And that, of course, does come with some challenges and a little bit of politics from time to time. But what unites us as a business is this. We think the battleground is about these things. It's about being convenient and defining your difference for the customer as convenience. It's about giving them choice, giving them the right access that matches their need in terms of screen size, in terms of whether they want to use bricks and mortar. It's about being fast. And it's about giving them certainty. You know, they're hard-pressed. There's lots of competition out there. Put their name on the product if you can. Reserve it. Let them buy it. Let them get at it. So for us, really, that's what it means. It's about convenience. And that's what we think keeps us relevant. Really, just think about where the customer is and go there. And that really is the only logical thing for us. So that's fundamentally our story. So thank you.
That was very inspiring, Anders.
Absolutely.
Well, for me, it was very perspiring.
Yeah.
Any
But I'm okay
questions?
now.
Yeah. Well, you know, actually, you answered most of my questions with your presentation. So this
Good.
might, you know. But I just tried your website, and it works great on a tablet. And most e-tailers in Scandinavia don't have mobile sites yet. Any advice? What to think about
Yeah.
when we make that move?
Well, I was speaking to somebody about this last night. Actually, our conversation is about responsive design at the moment. We intend to have, at the minute we have a traditional website for our UK business, we have a mobile site, and we have a tablet site. Editorially, that's quite difficult. Operationally, that's quite difficult. I think if you're in a position right now where you're thinking about how do we give the mobile user a mobile experience, I'd be thinking about responsive, because you want to make your life easier, not have to build separate sites over and over and over. It's hard. And we did it because it suited us at the time. At the time we developed our mobile site, we hadn't even heard of responsive. So it suited us at the time, and it allows us to take risks in small steps. But it's a lot of work. And in the end, in e-commerce, there's lots of things you can do. And it does have an impact on all of those other things. So
where do you start?
I would start with talking to people who know how to help you to design a responsive site.
Yep. Okay.
Dan, Lena?
Yeah, I got lost on your Facebook page. I must say the person or persons running the site should be stand-up comedians instead of working with you. Because...
Were they being deliberately funny? Because that's quite important.
Yeah, no,
Right.
they just have a very certain tone that is extremely funny. Is this something...
It's the jokes.
Is it
It's
on
the
purpose?
jokes. Yeah, it's on purpose, yeah.
Yeah.
Our tone of voice is quite important to us.
Okay, so you use this in stores as well?
We do. It's friendly but respectful.
Yeah, because I have an example here. You have posted a shoe that looks okay to me, but someone is saying, rather shit in my hand and clap. And then your guy responds, don't recommend doing that, things will end up messy. And it's very funny, you can sit and read the comments here for hours, I think.
Very good, very good.
We also looked at one of your boards on Pinterest, and it's called Cats in a Shoe Bags. Is that a part of your marketing strategy?
Our marketing strategy is to make it up as we go along, frankly, and to try and resonate with real people. And most of our customers are younger.
And they like cats.
And they like a whole range of things. They like a whole range of things.
Yeah.
Some of them like things that we can't really talk to them about.
Yeah.
But for the customers we can. We're happy to go with wherever they want us to go, within reason.
I know that you're looking forward to speak to the e-retailers here at the summit.
Yeah.
So don't be shy. Talk to Sean. Thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome.